All right, Enrique Zoltano here, also known as Hakutushi, also known as Rock on the Ledge. You know what? I lost track of my thoughts again, but I'm back on track again. Now, let me tell you about my first day in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Um, I had gone to New Mexico schools, and then we moved up to Pennsylvania. My dad got a job in a nuclear power plant, and he was like one of the only men with a degree in his department, and so he's this intelligent man who's being tortured, um, and like The Simpsons was out at the time, and I really realized that The Simpsons is real. Like, oh my God, there's like maybe one man in a nuclear power department that knows what the fuck he's doing. It's like terrifying. And anyways, but maybe he had several jobs up there. I don't know. I didn't talk to him much. He was a big inspiration in my life. I always believed in the Torah to respect your parents, but I followed the first law before I followed the fourth, or whichever one it was. And I think my dad has a good heart. I do. But so, anyways, one time he moved us to this town called Aliquippa, right? And Aliquippa was right next to this other town called Central, I think. Center, I think it was. Center Township. And these towns were so close to each other, yet they were so different because Aliquippa was all black, and Center was all white, right? And yeah, I was at home in both of these towns because my dad's a dark man, so it's like I look at these other dark men and they're like more father figures, right? Um, and so I was at home in Aliquippa, but I was shy. Um, Before this, I had been to the New Mexico schools, and then in second grade we moved over to Ambridge before we moved over to Aliquippa, and Ambridge was a big shocker to me, big culture shock. The English teacher there, I loved her. She 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 was like the Simon Cowell type, and she totally shat on me. But she was shitting all over New Mexico schools too. Um, because I was in second grade and I didn't know cursive, right? And oh my God, like, I love writing. I do. I fucking totally love writing. But like, this was before my dad taught us English grammar, and this was kind of my first kind of lesson to writing. But I started to learn cursive because she was all distraught that I didn't know it already, because I had been to these substandard New Mexico schools, and I started learning cursive. And I don't like cursive because to me it's kind of ugly. There's too many loop de loops. Um, this is all funny to me because penmanship has never been my thing, and like lately I've been like really sloppy. But at one point in time, I did start to develop my own handwriting style. And it's kind of a combination between standard American writing and the cursive, right? So, but it allowed me to flow more because see, like a lot of times my thoughts would flow faster than my pen, and so it just allowed me to flow more. So I like the little the penmanship that I developed, but it was totally not like I wasn't expecting any of this. Anyways, but then after Ambridge, we went to Aliquippa. Yeah, my dad moved us to Aliquippa, and my first day at Aliquippa, I'll tell you this. Okay, I went there, and it's like a 90+% black school. So it was a culture shock to me because I come from New Mexico, where everybody's either red or white, and and you'd have a few black kids maybe sprinkled throughout the rest. But even Ambridge was like Ambridge had a lot more black people. I think definitely in it. But it was maybe more mixed, definitely, than Ambridge, than Aliquippa and Center. But I then go to, so I start going to Aliquippa. My first day at Aliquippa, I remember it was just like so fucking wild. Oh my god. I'm sitting there. First of all, one of the big shocks to me was I'm sitting there at the lunch table, right? And I'm the new kid. I'm shy and quiet, and I definitely was shy at times. I was the black sheep of my family, so so I totally identify with. I think her name is Meg in the Family Guy. But anyways, so I'm sitting there at this Aliquippa table, and these black kids are all sitting there, and some of them are getting their plastic spoons that they eat food with, right? And this is after they eat their food, so they'll eat their food and then they'll get their plastic spoons, and then they'll start to try to destroy them. So like, it'll be a contest between two black kids, and one of them would take the end of their plastic spoon and they'd try to crush it against the face of the other plastic spoon, right? And whoever can completely crush the entire face first wins. Um, and these other kids had were playing football, paper football, and this was you slide a triangle across the table, and if you get it on the edge, and that guy can put his finger straight and move the football, then you scored, right? And it was funny because sometimes they'd argue with each other because one of the guys might not have been putting his hand completely straight, and he might have been like tilting it, right? So there'd be this funny little fight every now and then. Um, but what I realized about Aliquippa was compared to all the other schools that I had been to, these black kids were more social with each other without necessarily even like speaking to each other, right? There was just this camaraderie there that I had not felt in any other school, right? But Aliquippa was also a heavily fighting school. Like there was a lot of oh my god, there was so many fucking fights at Aliquippa. So, and that was my first day of school. So, um, I'm sitting there. I'm at the lunch table, and I'm watching all this stuff happen, and I'm like totally fascinated by all these black kids around me, and and I'm loving the camaraderie, the brotherhood and stuff. It was a beautiful thing, and but all of a sudden, like these two kids, they start fighting, and they're like I'm at this lunch table, and they're fighting at the end of this lunch table, right? And that's important to understand here, because Like each fight in Aliquippa is going to be different, but like let's say there's a fight in the playground, right? So if there's a fight in the playground, then all the kids are going to crowd around this fight and start cheering, right? But they're also going to crowd around this fight and start cheering, but they're also going to block the teachers from stopping the fight, right? And they're also like they're gonna like insidiously just start blocking the teachers, you know. And it was really fun and funny. And that's what's funny about when I moved to center. But I'll tell you about that in a second. Um, but so I was right there. I was right in the center of it, you know. And usually when a fight happens in the cafeteria, everybody stands up on the seats and watches like a stadium. So there's less crowding in the cafeteria than there would be in the playground. And so, but man, it was just the most amazing fight, whatever. Like, there's this one movie, I think Tom Cruise was in it. And it's, I forgot what it was called. He's like a fucking Irish dude. And, but he moves to Boston. And there's this fight that happens in Boston, right? And there's this, is it, there's this amazing little English kid, right? And he has a chalk in his hands, and he draws a line on the ground, and he's like, "To the line, gentlemen!" Right? And these two big men, they'll stand up and they'll both put a foot on the line, and then they'll just start punching the shit out of each other, right? And this was in the days when you know, men had that you know, 19th century boxing stance. Um, but that's what the like. There was these two black kids. So I was at this lunch table, and these two black kids, they were like linebackers, right? And that's what they were doing. They stood up to each other, and I was right there. So I was just like, like, oh my god, like right there. So oh, yards. How about yards? I can do yards. I was maybe like 5, 6 yards away from these guys. Okay, and like all you could hear was thud, thud, thud. Like they were both standing up to the line, and they were both swinging, and they were both like big, thick black guys, like Congo black guys, not like Ethiopian black guys. And so there were these two big, thick American black guys, and they were just swinging, and it was just like thud, 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 thud. Right, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, just like, I'm new to this school, right? I'm new to this environment, and um, so I'm just like fascinated, right? And I'm focused on what's happening, right? But in my peripheral attention, I hear something else is going on in the cafeteria. There's something else other than this fight that people are making noise to, right? This is a black school, so a lot of noise is going to be being made, right? And so there's this other noise that doesn't have anything to do with this fight. And so I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I look over at one point and I see it. I don't see the whole thing, and I wish I had two eyes to view it all. But there was this one black teacher, right? An amazing black teacher. He would be fired and totally disgraced in our own day. But he was an amazing black teacher, and he saw this fight going on, and he was at the end of the cafeteria. So what he starts doing is he starts running straight, right? The quickest way towards 2 points is a straight line. So he's running straight towards this fight, right? So that means he's jumping over tables, right? And at one point I look behind because I'm like, what's all this noise? And I kind of see him like just like focus like a fucking sprinter, and he runs towards these two black kids who are fighting, and it's funny because these are Congo kids, right? These are American kids, right? But he's more like the Ethiopian skinny black guy, right? So he weighs less than both of these guys, and he's about the same height as both of these guys. But he's got so much confidence in him, right? And so he jumps in there to try to get in between these two black guys. But his jumping in there just doesn't work. It doesn't. And he gets hit by one of these kids. Right? And as soon as that kid hit him, like these are two big black guys who were just like slugging at each other, and they're machismo and they're going at it. But as soon as that kid hit that teacher, like that kid turned into a total child, and he was just like so, like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, like he was just like so scared. And this black teacher, that's why he wouldn't be around today. He just starts swinging at both of these guys. Because he just got hit, right? And so he's now swinging at both of these guys. And so this is my first introduction into Aliquippa, right? One time there was this guy that I had seen. I had talked to him before, and there was this other guy that I had seen. I had also communicated with him, and we both had a respect with each other. I had respect with both these guys, and they both had respect with me. And but I was at the lunch table one day, and one of the guys was putting a knife to the other guy, and he was like, "Hey man, you're a bitch. I don't like how you're dealing with everything." And so this one black guy was laying down the law, and it was a crazy moment because I agreed. I agreed with everything that was happening, but I felt bad for this one guy because, I was, I'm also the story writer, so I'm trying to see the good in all, and I definitely tried to see the good in this guy, and he did have some good in him, and so it was a shocking moment to me because it was like, hey, this is amazing, because this is how it should be done, right? And anyways, I only say this because this one time I was in the cafeteria, and a fight happened, right? So, and I was far away from this fight, so I jumped up on my seat. And this kid was in it, right? But it was also a girl that was in it, and so there was this like once this guy went up against this other guy, everyone else kind of started going up against him too, and that made me feel kind of even more bad for him. But there was this one girl who went up against him, and so I'm sitting there in the cafeteria. Fight happens. I jump up. I'm watching it, and this guy's in it, and she hits him. Boom, and she hits him like a boxer, right? It's this woman, but she's fighting professionally, right? And boom, she hits him. So he swings back, right? He I think he does a right hook. And there's this black girl, she fucking ducks like a boxer, and then like comes up with like an uppercut and then another hook. And by that time he's out, right? And she's just wailing on him, right? And again, like, oh my god, I kind of felt bad. And I didn't even know everything that was going on, right? I knew these two guys. But that was, that was my kind of experience about Aliquippa, right? And oh my god, I need more beer. I think I'm gonna get more beer later. So, my sister, she told me about her first day of Aliquippa, and this totally resonates with my experience of Aliquippa. Now, when I tell you the story, I'm telling you it from my memory of what my sister told me. So you have to get the entire story from her because this is maybe not as accurate. But this is the story that she told me, and this is the story that I remember. So she was in her first day of Aliquippa, and this teacher went out of the classroom. She had to go to the office for some reason, and she said, "I'll be right back." And so she leaves the classroom and goes to the office, right? And as soon as she's far enough away, like my sister tells me, and again this is from what I remember. My sister tells me that everyone starts getting up and acting, and there's no leaders. Like, and that was a fascinating thing to me because, like, I'm a philosopher, right? And she's like, there's no leaders, right? Like everyone just starts doing something, right? And they're all acting together without any instruction from anybody, right? And the thing that was happening was that there was a beef between these two girls. And so what as soon as that teacher leaves, she said one person gets up and they go lock the door so the teacher can't get back in. And everyone else grabs a desk and they start moving the desk in a circle, basically. They start moving it against the wall. And as soon as all this is done, these two girls just start beating the shit out of each other. Right? This is totally my experience about Aliquippa, right? And I love it, I do. And when I say my sister is an Apache witch from Aliquippa, that makes me proud, and I wish she was standing by my side. I always have wished that she was standing. I wish I want a sister, and I've always treasured her, whether she knew that or not. Because I'm a total ninja, so I pretend to be a pussy a lot. That's one of the things that hurts me about my relationship with my dad, because one of the influences on me was Columbo, and my dad would come home from work and he'd be totally just drained from all the toxicity, and so he'd just start watching shit. And one of the things that he watched was Columbo, and I'd watch Columbo with him, and I love Columbo. He's this man who pretends to be a bum, but he's more than he looks. And on the inside, I totally believe I'm Aliquippa. I do. And I'm totally proud to have my sister. I wish I had a sister. I love you, Angela. I do. After going to Aliquippa, we went to Aliquippa for 4 years, and after that we went to Center Township. Right, and Center Township is this all-white town, completely white, completely rich. They're like right next to each other. They should probably be the same school, but they're segregated. That's why there's probably more segregation in the north than in the south. But from my experience anyway, I haven't been all over the north nor all over the south. But there's probably more segregation in the north. And this was totally segregated, Center and Aliquippa. But we went. My dad moved us to Center Township at one point. I think this is when he started working at the nuclear power plant when we were in Center, but I don't know. You'd have to ask him. And so I was in Center Township, and I had just come from Aliquippa, and I was walking through the hallways of Center, and I was walking from one class to another, like you do in school, right? And a fight broke out all of a sudden, as happens in high schools. And so I'm Aliquippa trained, right? Like I know to block a teacher in order to make that fight happen. um, but not block a teacher. Like I'm not blocking a teacher on purpose. I'm just like woo, like. But so a fight breaks out in Center Township, and so all of a sudden I start cheering, like I start running towards it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like fight, like two kids are fighting, and you're supposed to run towards it and cheer. And so that's what I did. I was like, yeah, and it was so surreal. Like I think that was the first surreal moment that I've ever had. The most surreal moment was when my wife died. I was just, I truly experienced the feeling of surrealness. But other than my wife dying, this was surreal because I go on to cheer this fight that's happening in this hallway in Center Township, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm supposed to be a part of the group, blocking the teachers, right? But because this is a totally situation where you need to do that, and I remember stopping, and I stopped looking at the fight because I realized that there were a few people in the crowd who were looking at me. Right, my peripherals were on, and I realized I looked over at this one girl, and she was like skittering, like oh my god, like look up the definition. She was totally skittering away from this fight. And as she was skittering away from this fight, she was looking at me like I'm an alien. You know? Like she's totally looking at me like I'm a fucking alien for like cheering on this fight, right? So of course, like I stopped focusing on the fight, and I'm like looking at her, and I'm in shock. I'm like, what's going on here? This is a totally different world. Um, but it would be nice to have a sister, especially an Apache witch from Aliquippa. Because my sister has Apache witch powers. She does. But Angela, I have Apache witch powers too. Um, and my Apache witch powers are infinity. Yours are powerful in this time. So please, let's get back together. I want my kid back, please. I love you. Um, I do. To have an Apache witch from Aliquippa would be so amazing as a sister.